The Elite made the right decision to stick with AEW, and that was the perfect choice to make. Over the last few days, to put into words, that there was no overlong null cliche, the difference between the modus operandi of AEW and WWE, the different vibes the company give off as a framework to explain why the Elite re-signing of AEW was the right move. Often opinion pieces in wrestling are too opinionated, passionate and vigorously composed. No one wants to be called a mark, no one wants to be Jim Cornette, but sometimes the first idea that comes into your mind is the best idea. So yeah, I think this is why re-signing is the right decision, because they are artists and WWE doesn't care about that. They care about profit. That isn't to say I feel need to add the Elite don't care about profit either. I'm well aware that wrestling is business, and both companies I'm discussing here are active professionals and need to make a profit, but I believe just as the business model of beef companies is evidence enough. Though first off, we have the problem of Hogan model within WWE, with the idea that it has to be around one guy, and if the Elite went to WWE tomorrow, there would be no room for the main event title picture, like only a Mayto in a small town. The world title scene is filled to the brim with talents such as Roman, Seth, Balor, etc. Damian Priest is a fresh addition in recent years. Narratively as well, that there will be no room for the Elite in current WWE. Think about it. Roman's 3 long title reigns were ended by an outsider. What does that say about WWE's own roster? There was no one good enough or smart enough to dethrone Roman. Kenny or Hangman strolling in with the title wouldn't be satisfying long-term booking. Would you have Hangman wrestle Austin Theory in a US title match? Would Kenny face Gunther? I wouldn't mind seeing the last match, but the point is the Elite would have to make a big splash right away in WWE, and there's no narrative rate for them to do so right now. Them winning their title will be unsatisfactory. They're losing with Punk Cody Rhodes comparisons and means about Vince and Triple H's revenge. They go into wrestling history as being Juice's big fish in a small pond, but when their careers have been anything but. The idea that WWE is the only game in town is in part what helps them survive. Even in Cody's recent release documentary, Triple H couldn't refer to AEW as a secondary company. They were so insecure, so focused on the brand, and that money brings in, they feel cheapened what they meant to be a feel-good documentary as one of the most popular stars. WWE isn't what it is about narratively satisfying, nor do they care about what makes sense. They want to make a profit. Then back to an interview with Triple H, where he addressed the tendency of WWE management to push John Cena over every other talent on the roster to the point where they spawned Cena wins lol and super memes we all know and love today. Keyboard say because at the time it was truly maddening, but Cena sold them those shirts, so they stuck with him. Flash forward a decade or so, WWE makes the same mistake with Roman Reigns. He sells the most t-shirts, so what would it be the fans like? Right, we should push him about everyone. No one is better than Byron Big Dog. Let's build everything around him. WWE pushed Roman down our throats so much it took Roman revealing he had a life-threatening illness, something very relatable, something very moving and human to wash the taste out. When Roman returned, even he has nearly found sympathy from fans. Roman continued to flop. One mention of dog food is all the reminder it needs. Flash forward again for years, where everyone is praising Roman at long last for having one of the great title reigns. He's held the Universal title for over 1,000 days. He is WWE and he's exactly everything wrong with that company. Roman is personification of a sunken cost fallacy obsession with the plays at WWE because they care about marketability of everything else. No look at AEW, there's no one guy out there. There are top guys, yes, but no home and figure. In fact, there are ebbs and flows. Very competitive. Moxley's considered many times the ace of AEW and failed multiple times. He lost to Punk at All Out. He duped by Omega. Winter is coming. He failed to see Regal's portrayal coming up, Full Gear 22. He isn't top guys always, and because of that, people aren't sick of him. And unlike Roman, he can thrive away from the world title picture. Part of AEW's branding is how much of a gamble it was to create it. It's why the majority of their pay-per-view names are gambling themed. There's no guarantee AEW would succeed, and yet here they are, clinging on to some of the biggest names in the company, with like Chris Jericho right from the very start. AEW began telling these stories. Orange Cassidy's transformation, acclaimed, who was once an absolute flop of a team, is now a popular act. This took time, faithful investments, and stood a chance not being returned. I can't think of the last time WWE did such a thing, invested in someone and their pre-pack stars, unless to be by sheer bloody force and will of the fans. And even when it look further into the eve of AEW, into the men in the articles about, we see a history of this, telling stories that are no guarantee of success or marketability, but telling them away anyway. But it was a story that they believed in. Think of the connection between Omega and Ibushi. However you decide to interpret it, whether you see the Golden Lovers or as literal lovers or two men who were bond so deep it transcends what we call platonic and romantic, you cannot deny that their story has been masterfully told over the years, slowly with care, with thought, wonderfully acted and written. Every moment of a catharsis feels like a dam busting, but there was no guarantee it would work. Their story started with promotions as a write-off as being a joke promotion, the sex doll promotion, and DDT, a company that was often an afterthought to all die-hard wrestling fans. But Kenny and Kota took the time, and they continue to do so, and they look at the Bucks now, and no matter where they go, their characters are consistent, racking up more miles than the truck driver in the late 2010s, but the Young Bucks appeared everywhere, but there was never phoning it in when it came to character, nor did they act out of character to suit story. In New Japan, when Kenny and Kota reunited, it would have been convenient to have the Bucks just be fine to let Kenny have this, but they wouldn't do that. They were written to react in a way that aligns with the fact that they've been presented to be up until this point. And then we came to the most recent example, Hangman Page, a mirror of Roman Reigns as a cinema that has seen WWE's reputation in recent years. Hangman's story has been slow burn, one told slowly over the years. It's seen peaks and valleys for Hangman as a character. It's seen him succeed, fail, and both professionally and morally, and it never felt forced. Now, hold on, you might say, what about Full Gear 21? They had been on the title on Hangman then because Kenny was so injured that there wasn't title changing or originally fate forced. Now look me in the eyes and tell me that it wasn't the natural endpoint for Kenny's reign regardless. Look me in the eyes and tell me WrestleMania 39 wasn't the natural end for Roman. Hangman's stock plummeted after losing the title. No doubt Hangman t-shirts didn't sell as well for a while, but it was natural. It was a story doing what a story has to do, and now having walked through the valley, Hangman has found himself at its peak again. The Elite and the BCC have been some of the best wrestling on TV this year, and it makes both great. Could WWE done that? Could they have ended the reign naturally, guided the top talent through the expected job and back in his performance once again? The answer is yes, and that, I know, it's taken a while to get there, but they could have done that. The Bloodline storyline could have been great, and has been great, but WWE wouldn't let it end how it should have, because that would have meant plucking a feather from their golden goose. That would have meant for the Darling champion would fall out, with falter, would prove not to be invincible. They would encounter a valley that they wouldn't know how to traverse, both in regards to booking and Roman not having the mythical top guy, and that in a nutshell is why the Elite re-signing is a great move for them. The Elite was seen in value for art's sake and stand by it. That's why let's see WWE see value in art as its only guarantees and without doubt money, and that is why they were and will one day soon again become so sealed, and with WWE becoming a chore rather than a delight. The Elite are artists. WWE wouldn't know how to properly utilise those artists of their calibre if they were slapped in the face with a step-by-step manual. But anyway guys, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and football news and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.